got ourselves together, team 2, together with Jerome. Look at those slab these boys out with the eviscerates. Office over in the back is the Feral Druid. We got us a Scarlet. Oh, look at that Mog. Look at that Alliance. Colors all over the place. We got Unused Salt as an enhanced Shamansman, and we got Winkle over on the Cat Mount as a Retribution Paladin. Scarlet is going to be first up with a pet, dropping down a Blizzard for whoever is going to be first out over for the Team 1. We got ourselves Bakey in the back. How you doing? Chip Fellas mounted up. Cameron Landers waiting out. Going to be crying about it in stealth. That's going to be Resident waiting for his turn. Is it going to be Kevin potentially? Looks like it's going to be Cry about it first. Scarlet dropping down Blizzard almost. If they were to just put it right on top of them, they would get him out, but trying to stay in their own Blizzard as best as they can. It's going to be a stun by the Feral. Convoke immediately. Scarlet has to go burn a human racial out of it with an Alter Time, not playing a normal PvP trigger to break out a CC. Instead, just playing a full Necrolord. I think just a full damage combo. Going to be Alter Time is going to be able to put him back where we were. Is eventually going to have to go for the full Necrolord burst. Definitely needs to get Cry About out in the open before they can start blasting him out with his frostballs. Trying to see if he can find the Feral. Almost found him out with an Arcane Explosion. We're right next to him for just a second. But then the way he used the cone in front when the Feral was right behind them. That is actually so close. Because Scarlet has no idea that the Feral was nearby. And they will only know after they watch the vid. Blizzard down for Scarlet. Almost ends it fully. Gonna be yet another Convoke. Doesn't Pet take a lot of damage? Big Bites go to Scarlet. Does burn an Ice Buck. Has through him as a Frost Mage, so might as well. Is going to try to play it as safe as possible. Try to see if he can chase after Cry About it. Hits him with a Nova with a Blizzard right after. Do they go for maybe a big rain of Blizzard? Blink, shimmer around the corner. Try to see if he can stop Cry About it in place for a second. It's going to be Ray of Frost doing a bit of damage. But it's going to slow him down quite a bit. Does burn his Shadow Meld in order to escape. And that's going to be a Blizzard right after. A Scarlet did burn some cooldowns. Did not burn the big Necrolord buff just yet. But did burn Icy Veins and hope that the Feral will be right next to them. Going to be yet another stun by Cry About it. With a Nova by the pet immediately. Scarlet tried to see if he could Alter Time back up out of there. It's going to be Cry backing up out of the bear form. I don't really know. Can a Frost Mage really do much against the Feral in this kind of situation? I mean, the slows are fantastic, but the Feral can just power shift a lot of that damage. Going to be that interrupt onto Cry. That's going to be a Ring of Frost. Potentially, if you can kite the Feral back in the Ring of Frost, you'll be in a good spot. The Feral's right next to it, trying to touch as best as possible. Blizzard's around the corner. The Water Elemental is going to put some pressure on the guy, and that's going to be Scarlet blinking around the corner. Let's go for the full Deathborn. Trying to see if they can get some damage out. Definitely needs to get himself some Frostbolts in. Slow onto Cry About it. The pets are Frostbolting him. Does the pet Frostbolt help Scarlet? Like when pets are Frostbolt, does that count towards the Necrolord buff? Going to be immediate interrupt onto the heal for Cry About it. It's going to be potential Skull Bash for Cry. Doesn't go for Skull Bash just yet, just a Roar instead. Just looking to escape Scarlet instead. As they try to get himself an Ebb Bolt around the corner. And Cry just trying to go for a bit of healing. Just playing it very, very defensive. I think just going to wait until the Necrolord buff is completely gone from the Frost Mage. Trying to see if he can drop down a Comet Storm onto Cry. And Cry again just trying to avoid him as best as possible. The Necrolord buff finally gone. Scarlet barely got any Frostbolts out of that one. So Cry just playing it very, very carefully. I think just waiting for yet another Convoke. Gonna be a big old bash onto Scarlet. Roots him in place, but makes a mistake. When you root him in place, you make him immune to your Convoke. Made another mistake. We've seen that earlier in the duels, earlier in the evening. And rooting the player while you Convoke him makes him immune to Convoke. And it's just like weird interaction between Convoke, I think, to make sure that CC is just fine. The pet took a lot of the Convoke damage, however, instead. So Scarlet is having to summon a new one. Scarlet definitely needs to get this Feral away from any kind of pillar. Definitely needs to walk him out. Yep, that's good. Walking him away from any kind of pillars, putting him out in the open, putting him away from anywhere. The Ring of Frost is going to at least get you kind of a setup. That's a slow. That's potentially something you could work with. Ebon Bolt to follow. Get himself a bit of procs. Potentially going to be Ring of Frost to follow. That's going to be Cry with a bear form bark skin. Are you playing the tanky bark skin Lego? Is he playing tanky Lego? Which would explain why this Feral is still this super healthy all the time. Maybe? I'm not even sure. I didn't pay attention to what happened if you got a healing buff while Barkskin fell off while in bear form. I didn't pay attention at all. Anybody knows the respawn timer for the red laser sword? I have no idea. The Zyrare? Yeah, I have no idea what the respawn on that guy is. I think it's like at least 15 minutes, I imagine. Bash by Cry onto Scarlet. Big Convoke. Does he finally get him? And let's see, he does. 9 minutes, 10 minutes to the duel. And Cry, literally the only time he's out is doing damage inside of Convokes. And finally was able to get the Convoke to roll lucky to take down the Mage. Man, that was a long one, dude. Cry went super, super safe. I don't even know. Maybe that's too safe against a Frost Mage. Literally only out whenever he has Convoke. Outside of it, he isn't pressing Shred, he isn't pressing Bite, he ain't pressing nothing. As Office trying to see if he may be able to get some damage, back-to-back bites to follow Crowdbot in bear form. Does get himself a frenzied regen in order to get himself a little bit of recovery. Convoke to fall in Office, does burn a chicken for it with a wall to try to take this up as best possible with a Thorns on top of it. Crowdbot could be in a bad spot unless he get himself a recovery. Looks to get himself another frenzied regen. Hibernate coming out for Office for a second, but Crowdbot is denied being able to get himself a reset. And Cry just looking for a bit of a reset behind the pillow together. Unless he got himself Shadow Meld or something. He got himself a wall, burning it really, really low. Definitely needs himself a healer too. Cyclone attempt, which is Office, but it's going to be a quick skull bash. I think the bleeds is just going to do him in. Does get himself friends in region. Not sure if that's an emergency heal or if that's a real heal. That's going to be Cry trying to see if he can bail out of there. Got himself barely healing. Regrow shoot up, stabilize a little bit. 41% dampening. Not really going to do well. What I was doing, you know, everybody's got to get a chance, you know what I mean? Cry about it. I think this is the first time we've seen Cry in these. I think he did pretty well for the first time participating in these duels ever. The only advice I would have is like after a Convoke, this is where a lot of damage comes from, and I think you actually have a lot more damage than inside a Convoke. Like if you want to just continue the bleeds, get some pressure, get a couple bites afterwards, you really can just finish the duel early. Like after a Convoke, I don't know. I think maybe he's just too reliant on the Convoke bursts. But if he just gets comfortable after Convoke to continue the burst, continue the damage, continue the momentum, continue the mastery buff you get from Naya, you actually can finish the duel way earlier after Convoke. I think right there he's just trying to be doing some cheesy with Convoke. But if he plays like a proper Night Fae Feral after Convoke, you still have a lot of damage potential to follow, and that's just something you just need to learn to follow up. Next up is going to be Bakey as a Feral Druid. I think also a Night Fae. Going to go for a Bash Big Berserk versus Office with a big Convoke to follow. Massive damage, Mad Dash. Oh! It just goes for a big old bite. That's what I'm saying. That is what I meant, actually. But I said, you can just go for some big damage afterwards. I was going to say, is he going to wait until Convoke? Is he just waiting? How many seconds you got left on a Convoke? I really wish they added Convoke as like above that we could monitor. At least we could see like when you're about to burst. Staying next to Under Your Soul, and it's going to be the Earth Elemental disappearing. I think he literally wanted to wait for the Earth Ellie at this point. I think it was literally waiting a minute for the Earth Ellie rather than for the Convoke. Ball for Bakey. Thorns is up and running. Potentially looking to get interrupted on Cyclone. Does Under Your Soul use it? He doesn't interrupt Cyclone. It looks like he's going to get cloned. Does he trick it? It looks like he doesn't. Bakey able to build some core points off of that totem. Does go for the bite totem to break free. That's going to be immediate root onto unused. He's going to sprint out of there. Try to see if he can break out. Bakey without a wall, big Convoke, looks like he's going to be able to bite him down, does end up clamping down the jaws of life. With Jerome going to be up next, trying to see if he may be able to get himself a better go versus his Feral Druid. Dude, at this side dampening, you ain't healing, and that enhancement shaman, he's playing literally into a Healy build, as all enhancement shamans are. That's literally part of your defensive. And you're just basically losing a whole defensive. That's super unfortunate. Yeah, but it feels bad. I agree with you on that. Yeah, dampening games definitely don't feel that great. But that's what happens when you have that unfortunate first duel between the Frost Mage and the Feral Druid, right? Feral that only does damage inside a Convoke. And the Frost Mage who, I mean, can you really do with him, right? What can you really do in that situation? Jerome gets an open onto Bakey. Bear form immediately for Bakey. As a trick it's out, that's going to be for Jerome. Perfect opportunity, going to be a cycle for Bakey. As he try to go get himself maybe a bit of a reset. Going to be a stun onto Jerome. They're building comp points off of the Rogue. Maybe he can go for Bear form. Maybe we try to go for Roar, but I think maybe the dots and Jerome broke it. Thorns on Bakey. Does Jerome just capitalize on this? Looks like with the rest of it, I think he's just going to go for it. And oh, big grenade. Not much you can do about it. Diving into a smoke bomb immediately. Going for a sample to Kevin Landers. Not letting this man really get himself a setup versus the Rogue. The Rogue walking into this one with full defensives, trinket available, no more Shadow Blades, no more Resonator, but still could definitely make a play. Get a shot onto Kevin. Trying to go for a bit of that curing burst. Immediate blasting protection from Kevin. Doesn't want to mess around. 68%. Damn, but I'm trying to see if he can get himself some hammers into Jerome. That's going to be the Rogue. Trying to see if he can dive into stealth. That's going to be Kevin Slime on him. Potentially keeping him combat. Does dive back into stealth. Using Shadow Step of Kevin's position in order to reconnect. Consecration. Barely avoiding it. Kevin Landers getting hit with a stab. Still holding on to that flesh scout, so he got plenty of defense. And Jerome should have some kind of coolness coming back. His Cloak Shot is available. Going for a crippling poison. Trying to make sure you got proper wound poison. I don't think he finished the wound poison. Get a shot into Kevin. Does burn the trinket. Cheap shot to follow. Looks at Jerome. Is going for a bit of reset. Did you realize that his poison fell off? One poison, maybe a little bit. Might put him in a bad situation right then and there. Jerome, though, does go for a shot him out, but Kevin still finds him with the advantage. That's 2 cells that he had to utilize back to back. That's going to upset the rogue back a little bit, as Kevin was able to find him while in shot him out. Just AoE him out, continue the pressure, force the advantage out of the rogue. Jerome still holding on to evasion, has a trinket, but no Cloak of Shadows. A lot of the holy damage can just go right through him through that evasion. Like a Hammer of Justice can just lock you down either way. Jerome better be very, very careful. He knows Kevin has a bubble. Getting a shot. Full Kieran burst. It's going to be that bubble. Jerome trinkets out of the Hodge immediately. Used to get himself a bit of reset. Tried to go. Looked like maybe a blind, but that was just an evasion. Just that same animation. But evasion does give himself some survivability. Use a shot to step on Kevin's slime. Oh, that's so good. I know a blinder to Kevin. If you can get yourself a clean escape, stab on Kevin. We got yourself Shadow Blades coming back up very, very soon. Resonator available. Does dive into stealth. I think it could be over for Kevin. For Kevin right now, it's just a hope that Jerome doesn't crit. If Jerome crits, Kevin dies. If Jerome doesn't crit, Kevin doesn't die. That's all he can do, unless Kevin makes an obvious mistake. This could be over. Getting a shot. Does he have a Resonator? He doesn't have a Resonator. Still, no, he does get a late. Still massive eviscerates. Cheap shot. Oh, literally no way for Jerome to lose that one. Literally no way for him to lose. And Chill Piss, oh, quick disarm onto Chill with a Cloak of Shadows. The Rogue Shadow stepping past him. The Rogue does not want to go down without a fight, boys. Get a shot of Chill Piss, force an IBF, full cooldowns to the Chill. Doesn't give that man much opportunity. Winky gonna be up next, throwing him hammers. That's gonna be immediate silence on the Paladin. Might just hit a bubble this immediately. Try to get some damage versus Chill Pills. That's gonna be stun on the pet with a Wake of Ash. Chill Pills disconnecting out of there. And Winky charging out with his shield defend, his full wings available, trying to get himself a big blast of damage. Chill Pills hoping for that fatty crit, but Winky might just have him here right now. Winky super low. Oh! Chill Pills found a crit at the very end. What is this? Oh my goodness, boys! Jesus. That's so good. That's Big Dammy. Well done. Yo, boys, if y'all want to go again, I'm down to go again, my boy.